This is the story of one brief affair when I decided to take a lover and what happened. So I met this guy online, and what we would do is just write back and forth, and we exchanged a lot of very detailed emails. He was a wonderful writer, and I was initially, when I saw his photo, I thought, wow, this is a really nice looking guy, definitely a jock, way more athletic than I was. And he'd looked at my, I could tell he'd looked at my profile and he didn't write. And then finally he did write. And so this is how we started writing back and forth. And he turned out to be a very intelligent guy and really interesting, loved music. We had a lot of music. We exchanged a lot of YouTube videos back and forth, music and stuff that we liked and that had influenced us. And we were in the sort of similar places in our lives, but the one thing, this was his first foray online, and he had not dated or anything since his split, which had not been that long. And it was, so he wasn't ready for a relationship with a capital R. And I was just in a place where I was not ready to commit to anything. I was feeling very vulnerable after my last relationship. Anyways, so I wasn't really wanting to commit either. So I had kind of been tossing around the idea of having a lover rather than someone who, like a friend with benefits. To me, that was sort of a callous, almost too casual for me. I wanted it to be more in the grand French tradition, where you'd have this lover who you would spend long mornings in bed exchanging conversation about, and advice on things, and you would sort of be a champion for each other, but it was all very hush-hush. And I broached that with this guy. I said, how do you feel about, being a lover and not? He loved the idea. So the two of us decided to meet to see if there was any chemistry. And this was probably after a month of writing back and forth. I wrote to him probably more than I've written to anyone. So we had a pretty good idea of each other, and we met, and we did have chemistry, so it kind of took off from there. And it was really nice because he would message me and say, how about if I bring dinner over tonight and a bottle of wine? And I'd say sure, and I've got this and that. And so I would light candles and respectful. He was very easy to talk to, easy to get along with, really nice guy, but not ready for a relationship. And I wasn't at the time. We weren't in each other's pockets. I have my friends and my life, and he has his friends and family and his life. And we didn't, we talked about that, and we weren't going to mesh things. But what happened was, we ended up kind of like, it was like boyfriend, girlfriend. And I asked somebody, or I was talking about this with one of my friends, and she said, I said to her, I don't know the difference between a girlfriend and boyfriend and this lover thing. And she said, and this was brilliant, I thought. She said, a lover has no future. The relationship has no future. By its very nature that it's short in duration. And that summed it up beautifully. Because I think with a boyfriend, girlfriend, there's always that thing hanging over, like, what's going to happen? Where is this going? A lover is a relationship that is not going to progress. It is what it is. So it's a really good training for living in the moment, and as long as you can stay in the moment, you're good, right? What happened was, this past weekend, so we're having a discussion. We had a really nice date. And we were, we had a nice date, we went for dinner, everything was great. Then we're having a conversation the next day, and he said something. He said, yeah, well, I just don't want to hurt you. And I right away said, why? You can't hurt me. Like I was in such a long relationship. I've had my heart freaking pretty much ripped out of my chest. I don't know that I can be hurt anymore. Like, why would it, and I got quite defensive about the whole situation. And I was saying, I just kept going on like how, no way, I'm totally good, right? I'm solid. I've survived a lot of stuff. This is lightweight compared to what I've survived. And he left and everything, and I could not stop thinking about his comment and my reaction, my defensiveness. Why did I get so defensive? And I thought about it, and I did some journaling, and I realized I must have somewhere in my mind thought that because we were getting along so well and we had so much in common that this was going to go somewhere. I explored that. Do I have more feelings for this guy? And I had to admit that I did. I didn't want to. I had tried to keep it lighthearted, and I couldn't do it. I'm just not wired that way, I guess. So then I realized I was in trouble. I could be hurt by this relationship. And so I wrote and ended it. I thought I told him the truth, that it was better it ends now, and that I needed to. I said, so this is me making sure I don't get hurt. And I wished him all the best. And I don't know if we will be friends. I don't know if... I certainly think back on our brief relationship with fondness, and I think of him with happiness. There's no bad feelings. I'm wistful, a little sad. I knew the rules going in, and so I have no cause to fault him for anything. I knew the rules going in. I knew he wasn't ready, and so I don't know. Maybe I'm more ready than I thought I was, and it's just that I haven't really let myself. But because this relationship was, by its very definition, casual, I had no pressure, I found that I really could kind of establish a relationship. So it was kind of a failure in an experimental way, because apparently I can't just do a lover. I guess I don't know. I would love to hear anyone else's experiences with this, or friends with benefits. Maybe more casual is easier in the sense that you don't find this emotional attachment happening, and maybe that's why it's preferred by people. But I think yeah, I still have to think about it. I mean, this just happened 2 days ago, so I have to think some more on it. But anyway, that was the end of my affair. All right, until next time.